I can only liken it to vomit. Hello and welcome to the Whisky Trials. Now, tonight I'm discussing something quite serious and somewhat annoying and soul destroying, and I'm actually kind of upset about it. Anyway, the Old Pulteney 21. What could be upsetting about that, I hear you ask? Well, here's how I ruined a bottle of Old Pulteney 21. Now, I gave away 2 samples of this before I ruined it. So those samples should be good. I gave them away on Instagram. And yeah, one went to France, one went to England. And yep, I then proceeded to ruin it for myself. So the rest of the bottle pretty much ruined. So I don't really know if I like Old Pulteney 21 or not. Apparently Jim Murray says it's amazing. It won 2012 Whisky Bible, award. Not that, that necessarily means anything, just that, Jim Murray bought some shares in Old Pulteney that year. Alright, okay, so I'm gonna pour myself a dram. I'm gonna try it and enjoy it. Hopefully it's better than it has been with a bit more time. But I'll draw your attention to that. I don't know, maybe there's some other Old Pulteney 21s. It's something to note. If you've got an Old Pulteney 21 and you're storing it, listen. You hear how weak that is? A real slack cork in this one. And it gunked up a little bit around the top when I opened it. And I cleaned that off. I poured myself a dram and I poured out the 2 samples. Then, because the cork actually, you can see, hopefully see that. Ain't gonna focus, camera. Come on, focus on it. No, doesn't like it. But you see those marks on it anyway. Those marks are like really deep gouges in the cork, and essentially, I think the corks kind of failed a little bit on this. And I bought it at auction, and actually it was the whiskyauctioneer.com. They're based in Perth, and I'll give them their due. They were good, and they offered me a refund on this bottle and the other one that I bought as well. Yeah, so they offered me a refund and it was all good. And it wasn't what I was after. What I was after was, I just wanted to highlight what had happened to the whiskey, because one, I didn't want it to necessarily happen to somebody else, but if somebody has these whiskies and they're storing them and then they're selling them, that seller should be earmarked, I guess, to double check those bottles, because for me, I'm guessing this bottle was stored like on its side, so the cork was in continuous contact with the whiskey, which I'm guessing isn't necessarily a good thing. I think they should all be stored this way up. So anyway, I bought this Old Pulteney 21. In fact, I bought 2 bottles of it because I have a little collection of Old Pulteney that I'm putting together, that I'm just storing away for a rainy day. Whether I drink it myself or I sell it later on, I don't know. Right now, it'll just depend how I feel when I'm older. But this bottle was bought to drink, and the reason was a family holiday. So I thought, I'm going to take something extra special. Jim Murray says it's extra special. I'm going to take that on holiday, and we're going to have a rare old time tasting it and really get into it. So the story is that I open it and there's like some gunk on the top of it, so I clean that off, and the cork's really weak, and I noticed the cork's kind of gone, and I'm like, oh, that's not so good. I poured myself a dram, and then I poured the 2 samples, like I said, and then I go to taste my dram, and I smell it, and I'm like, Yeah, you know, and it was a weird one. I was getting some smells that I wouldn't quite expect with Old Pulteney. And then I tasted it, and the first kind of sip was it was okay, I guess. But then the second sip that I had, I was like, oh, like I felt like something was wrong. I was like, that's not quite right. I don't like that. It tasted. I can only liken it to vomit. Is like the kind of taste that I got, and I don't know. Maybe it was just it had to breathe. It had to settle in the glass. I mean, it was pretty quick after I poured it that I took a drink of it. You know, I was just desperate to try this amazing whiskey that Jim Murray said was so good. Anyway, so I thought, okay, the problem's with the cork. Maybe the cork's a bit funky or whatever. So and actually, when I look at the cork now, you know, it's not as bad as I kind of thought it was. Maybe just because it had gunk on it or something. I thought I should get rid. So anyway, I thought, I need to put another cork in it. And the only other cork that was available and fitted in the bottle was a gin cork. So I took a gin cork and I put it in the bottle. Now, before I go any further, people, do not do this, because you can probably imagine what's happened. The neck of the bottle just smells like gin now, and when I smell this, all I smell is gin. I mean, it's such a potent smell. I didn't think that gin would like make it smell that, like, even the whiskey. I mean, the cork was only there, right? The gin cork was only there. But the whiskey that I've poured out smells like gin to me. There's a gin smell there now. Unless Old Pulteney 21 has a bit of a gin thing going on. But I didn't get that initially. And I can get past the gin thing, and I can get to the Old Pulteney 21. But there's still that gin thing, and it's like it was only there in that top centimetre. And even pouring it out, it's like it infected the air in there, and because the alcohol, because the liquor had been so air deprived, that anything that filled the bottle, or the, you know, what was left in the bottle, it sucked in that flavour. So essentially, I have had a very bad experience thus far with Old Pulteney 21, and it's not a cheap malt. It really isn't. Obviously, it's discontinued now, and it's getting more and more expensive. I think if you go and look right now, it'll be £300 plus for a bottle online if you're buying it from a shop or a retailer or whatever. And I'm still getting that kind of that funky note, that funky. It's not like, I'm not going to say vomit, but there's a slightly unpleasant note there once I can get past the goddamn gin. So, I mean, the main thing I've taken out of this is potentially, you know, you've got to be careful in auctions anyway, but it has actually opened up another a talking point that I want to talk about, which is, you know, one of the first things that Whisky Auctioneer said to me is like, oh, it's not fake. And I'm like, well, I wasn't necessarily saying that it was fake, but if you were to fake something, and this, I gave the guy Laurie, cheers Laurie, Whisky Auctioneer, I gave him an analogy, which was, is it easier to fake lots of £1 coins and make £1 million, or is it easier to fake big notes and make £1 million? It seems to me like churning out a bunch of pound coins would be the easier option. And so, you know, if I bring that analogy into whiskey, I could say, is it easier to fake 100 Old Pulteney 21s or one Macallan that's like 100 grand? I don't know. You tell me. But actually, I'm looking at this in the glass, I can see little bits. I can see little bits floating about in it, and I think that's the cork that's failed. So this really isn't a true review and test of Old Pulteney 21. The samples that I sent away, one of the guys has drunk them and he really enjoyed it. So I'm glad for that. And I don't think a bit of cork falling in the whiskey necessarily ruins it or changes the flavour drastically. I had another whiskey that had a bit of cork in it and it was fine. Now that's I'm just keeping on spinning it and trying to get the idea and the smell of gin out of my nose. I do get a very, very orangey smell once I get past that. But it's a difficult one because it does have that Old Pulteney taste. I know an Old Pulteney, and that's definitely Old Pulteney. So, if somebody's faked it, then they've put in Old Pulteney anyway. But I very much doubt it. And it actually, this is probably the best I've had of this. It's definitely starting to release some more of the flavours that I know from Old Pulteney. And actually, it's got much more of an oiliness than the 12 and the maybe the 17 as well. So I'll be interested to know, like, if you've had an Old Pulteney 21. This is my first Old Pulteney 21, so I don't really know what to expect. It was essentially the neck pour that I had that I didn't enjoy, and then I put this stupid goddamn gin cork in it, and ever since that I've just thought about gin. I've just smelt the gin. But perhaps there is quite a sort of gin-like quality to Old Pulteney 21. I don't know. Perhaps there is that quite strong kind of fruity, florally note. But oh yeah, it's starting to open up a little bit now. Actually, I'm starting to get more vanilla mixed with the orange, so it's nice, and I can see why Jim Murray must have liked it. I just wish that the bottle was perfect and that none of this shit ever happened, because it was a big splurge for me. That's like an expensive thing to do, and I really hoped that it would be fantastic because I wanted to share it with everybody that I went on holiday with, my whole family, and it just wasn't happening, and it was a big letdown. So it was a real negative experience, and I'd built it up so much in my head. I thought it was going to be this massive positive experience, and it just wasn't. I mean, I am getting Old Pulteney now, and I can see why Jim might have liked it. Is it the best whiskey of 2012? I don't know. Like, I think I definitely need to try a proper nip of this before I could make that kind of decision from my view. Yeah. I don't know. See, I'm struggling to get past the whole gin thing, but I am getting much more vanilla and orange and a sweetness that I wasn't getting before. So it's a difficult one. All in all, I'm really disappointed in it. It's not necessarily the Old Pulteney 21's fault. It's not Whisky Auctioneer's fault. It's not even the guy that sold this fault, really, apart from maybe he stored it kind of badly. All these kind of factors just came to being, and I do have another bottle. Oh, I wouldn't open it right now I just don't. I can't see me opening it at all, really, because even from the taste that I had of this before I ruined it with the gin, I didn't think it was anything phenomenal. It didn't, stand out and smash me in the face like, oh my god, this is amazing. But definitely improving. It's not it's not as bad as it was, but God, I just can't help but be so disappointed with my whole Old Pulteney 21 experience. Like I said, built it up to be this big magical thing, and just didn't happen. Anyway, please comment below on your experience with Old Pulteney 21, because the more I'm drinking it now and the more I leave it in the glass, I'm kind of getting past the gin thing. I am enjoying it. Is it the best malt I've ever had? I don't know. Was it the best malt of 2012? I don't know. You guys know better than me, so you comment and tell me what you guys think of the Old Pulteney 21. Your experiences with the Old 21. Is it the drama of your dreams? Is it worth the lofty price tag that is now attached to it? Gads, I really don't think it is. Like I said, £300 for one of these, I just don't think I could justify it. I really don't. I mean, I've got 218s sitting here, the Deanston and the Tomatin. I mean, obviously these guys are probably around the 70, 80. Yep, well, the Deanston has got a price tag on the top of it, 74 quid for the Deanston 18. I can tell you, that's not a bad price for what you get in that malt. It's very nice indeed. So yeah, it's like the weirdest review I've ever done, because essentially I feel semi-responsible for destroying my experience of it, and the fact that it had a bit of gunk. This is okay. I want to put this into the comments as well, because I don't know what that gunk was. There was a little bit of gunk up at the top. Has anybody found that before? I thought maybe it was some of the glue. I'm going to take this off. So I thought maybe there was some of the glue between the cork and the cap, or maybe it was something that had like leached out of the cork since it's kind of failed. It's not failed completely, but it does have some. Oh shit! See, you can see I just by pulling at it, I just pulled a bit of the cork off. So it is rotten. It's starting to disintegrate. Let's put that down there. You see the chunk out of it. It doesn't feel good. It feels dry and a bit crispy. It doesn't feel moist and whatnot like they normally do. It doesn't necessarily smell bad, but I want to know what that gunk is. I don't really want to put this back in now that it's kind of disintegrated. Oh no! I need a gin cork. No, don't do that. No gin corks. That'll be alright. It's got cork in it anyway. So, can anybody tell me what the gunk is? Have you ever experienced that before with an older bottle of whiskey that you bought off auction or wherever? A bit of gunk around the neck where the cork goes in, and then a kind of flavour of. I likened it to that fruit that tastes like sick. What's it called? The I want to say DeLorean, but I know that's the car out of Back to the Future. But it's something like that, right? Anyway, that fruit that tastes like sick, that's what I kind of likened it to. And I did get a bit of the smell of that again, which I'm not getting anymore. I am actually getting more Old Pulteney smells now, which is good. This is probably the most enjoyable nip I've had out of the whole bottle, which is a real damn shame since it's about empty now. Because I kept going back to it. I kept having like a little nip out of it and just testing it to see if it had come back or whatever. and goes a big flying beastie, and it didn't really, but yeah, it's disappointing, and I'm sad and I'm annoyed by what I did, but you know, equally there's blame in some other areas as well, and yeah, I don't know. It's a real shame. I've got an Old Pulteney 17 back there that I'm going to review soon as well, and you know, that bottle was perfect. Bought that in auction. Really nice dram, really spicy, like a real spicy oak. I was so surprised by it. But the 21 has been a bit of a letdown. And yeah, I felt a bit reluctant to send out the samples because I didn't enjoy it. Albeit the samples went out, or I poured the samples before I put the stupid cork in. So at least that was something. But I'd already done the whole Instagram thing, the big build-up thing, and I thought I'm just going to send them out and see if they enjoy them. And I haven't heard back from one of the guys, but the other person was like, "Thanks very much," sent me a picture, and you know, he was sitting relaxing, enjoying it. So you know, that was good. Maybe he gave it a bit of time in the glass to kind of settle down and breathe a little bit, which I didn't do. I just wonder. I kind of want to open my other one now just to compare and contrast, but I don't know. Maybe it does smell like this. Maybe that's why Jim Murray liked it so much, because it had so much of an interesting nose on it. But for me, I'm kind of getting a lot of ginny kind of smells. But it is settling down now, I have to say. Anyway, rambling on. Please, whatever you do, do not put a gin cork in your whiskey if the cork's failed. It's a very bad idea, because all you're going to get is gin from that moment on. And be careful on whiskey auction sites. I mean, it's an interesting topic, isn't it? Like I said, I mean, would you rather fake if you were in the game, if you were a fraudulent whiskey seller, whatever, would it be easier to churn out a bunch of Old Pulteney 21s, or like one big Macallan, like one big job, or lots of little jobs? What's easier? In my mind, I'm thinking you could probably get a bunch of Old Pulteney 12, fill up the 21 bottles, and that would be an easier job than like trying to fake one Macallan, because there'd be a lot more scrutiny on the Macallan, right? I mean, like they said, who's gonna fake an Old Pulteney 21? Well, if you're doing it on a massive scale, like 10,000 bottles, then you know, maybe somebody, I don't know. It's getting the empties as well. You got to find all the bloody empty bottles. So it's unlikely that it was fake. In fact, I can guarantee it wasn't. It smells decent. It tastes good. So it really isn't. I think it's all down to the cork failing and me putting a stupid cork in it and all the rest of it. But yeah, what a disappointment. And well, stay tuned to see if I open my other bottle and have a better experience with it. Slanging.